Good morning. Waiting on some of you to come on in. It's 8 o'clock. Time for the choir Zoom meeting. We should have about 90 of you on here, including our virtual and our in-school bunch. So I'll wait a couple of minutes before I get started on what we're going to be going over today in our Zoom meeting. I'm going to be discussing about the Tom sign and realizing that you've got a good bit of material to learn, but we have done it in step-by-steps, and hopefully you will have listened in class or watched the videos that I've sent, or if you haven't, then you can watch it on this Zoom because I am recording it and sending it to you in case you were not able to make it this morning. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And I am going to start with what is a time sign. When we deal with that time sign, remember we have said that a time sign deals with the number of beats per measure as well as the number of our note values. Now I'm going to share my screen with you so that we can see as I do, and maybe that will help you in putting visuals with what I'm talking about, okay? So here we go. And I'm going to flip this right here. Hopefully this is going to work. Close this, arrow here, minimize this, maybe, I'm not sure. Okay, maybe this is not going to work. Let me do this. All right, let me stop right here sharing. And let's see if we can just go straight to my work here. Now, what I want it to do is to be able to pick it up the way that we said, but it looks like it's backwards. Now I got to figure out how am I going to do this when it's backwards. Well, let's see here. Maybe if I turn it this way. Is that better? Why, no. Well, let's see. Okay, I'm not sure how we're going to do this now. All right, well, maybe it is showing to you differently. I'm not sure. I'm afraid it's not. So this is what's bugging me here. Let's see if I can work on the camera part here. Don't want to stop the camera, but I do want to reverse the camera. Video settings, let's see right here. If I can reverse it. Mirror, maybe not mirror. How about that? Oh, great, awesome. Here we go. Now we're cooking with grease. All right, now then. Now you can see what I'm doing. All right. Okay, let me get this good and focused here. And this way I can see you and I can see if anybody starts coming in. All right. So as we are looking at this, you know, as I said, in dealing with our time signs, and we're looking at the time signs, the top number always tells us what? Yes, the top number gives us the number of beats. Now, when I'm talking about the number of beats, when you hear this, that is a beat. Can it be a pattern? Absolutely, it can be a pattern. But that is our steady beat. that's going on, okay? Then we have the bottom number that represents our time, our note value. That lets us know that we have got what our whole note's going to be worth, what every one of our notes and every one of our rests are going to be worth when we are looking at a piece of music. Now, as we look here at our different time signs that we're going to look at, when we see our time sign, one thing that we have to remember is the fact that we are only, for the first part, looking at the bottom number. Looking at the bottom number to know what our note value is going to be. All right? So when we learned about our notes, when we went from our whole note to the half note, to the quarter note, to the eighth note, to the 16th note, we learned that the more stuff that a note had on it, the less it was worth. So our granddaddy of them all is our whole note, right? And when we look at that whole note, it is simply an empty circle. Try to focus this better. Here we go. All right. So we have the whole note, which is simply the rest. Okay. I mean the circle. All right. So we've got the whole note. We also have rests that go along with each note. When we rest, we're going to be quiet for that amount of time. So our whole note and our whole rest get the same value. Value is what? It's worth. What it is worth. Okay? So let's look at when the 4 is on the bottom of the time sign. Remember, our time sign looks like a fraction, right? Looks like a fraction. All right? So when the 4 is on the bottom, our whole note and our whole rest, what would they be equal to? 4. All right? So no matter if it's a rest, no matter if it is a note, it's going to get 4 counts. Now, when I say 4 counts, that doesn't mean we go ta, 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 ta. We hold that whole note for 4 counts. Ta. Then we rest for 4 counts. If we have a rest there. All right. Then we add a stem to the whole note and it becomes a half note. And when we do the half note, then we have a half rest. Do you see a similarity in the whole rest and the half rest? Yes. The whole rest is an upside down hat. The half rest is the right side up hat. So when we come down to the half rest, we cut it in half. So what's half of 4? Good. 2. So the whole note and the half rest and the half note would equal 2 counts apiece. Let's move on down. We've got the quarter note, which looks like a half note, but it has an empty circle that's colored in. So all we've done is color in that half note and made a quarter note. Now the quarter rest, I don't know how to explain that except it looks like a squiggly line. Some people say when they see it in music that it looks like a bird flying sideways. To me, it looks like a squiggly line. So our quarter gets half of our half note. So what's half of 2? 1. Excellent. Now we go on down to our 8th note, which all we have done is added a flag to that quarter note. When we add that flag, the 8th rest looks similar to the 8th note because it also has one flag on it. So when we have that, now we cut the 1 in half and it becomes a half. Well, it gets a half a count. Do you notice that we are really, our note values as they're being cut in half all the way down, they are also making their speed of the notes go faster. Then our last one that we're going to look at is the 16th note, which has 2 flags. And half of a half is what? 1/4. Okay? So here we have the whole note. Ta, half note, ta, quarter note, ta, 8th note, ta, 16th note, ta. So if we wanted to count 4 quarter notes, it would be ta, 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 ta. If we wanted to count, let's say, 4 beats of 8 notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and if we wanted to count 4 beats of 16th notes, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. So you see, as we went down, we got faster, it seemed like, but really we didn't. The notes are just quicker because they have less value. All right, who can tell me another name for 4/4? Yes, common time. Why is it called common time? Because it's the most common time signature that we have. And sometimes this 4/4 is marked like this at the beginning of a piece of music. That's also telling us that we're in 4/4. We're going to have 4 counts in the measure, and that's our note values, what we've listed there. But suppose that we change that bottom number to a different number. Suppose we change our time sign from 4/4 to, let me go right over here and put 2/2. What have we done to that 4/4 there when we go there? Yes, we've cut it in half. So what's going to happen with our note values? We're going to cut them in half. So now our whole note and whole rest are only going to be worth 2 because that's half of 4, correct? All right, what's half of 2? 1. What's half of 1? 1/2. What's half of a half? 1/4. Good. Oh, let's see this. What is half of a 4th? 1/8. Good. So now our note values have suddenly changed. They've all been cut in half. And just like the time sign, when it cut in half, also the note values cut in half. Same principle. Now, look at this. This is referred to as cut time. And just like when we see the C over here with common time, we can make that same C, but draw a line down through it. And what have we done to the C? We've cut it in half. We cut it in half so that it tells us immediately, okay, remember, you're going to cut all your note values in half when you see that 2/2, or when you see the C with a slash down through it. Okay, so we've got common time, 4/4. We see cut time, which is 2/2. Now then, what happens if we double the note value and do this 8/8 for our time sign? 8/8. Well, what does that do to 4? When we go from 4 on the bottom to 8 on the bottom, what have we done to the 4? We have doubled it. Exactly. We have doubled it. So instead of 4 beats per measure, now the whole note is going to get 8 beats per measure. Instead of the half note getting 2 beats per measure, it's going to get 4 beats per measure. Instead of the quarter note getting 1 beat, he's going to get 2 beats. Instead of the 8th note getting only a half of a beat, he's now going to get 1 beat. And instead of the 16th note getting 1/4 of a beat, he's now going to get 1/2 of a beat. So we have doubled everything when the 8 is on the bottom. We have cut it in half when the 2 is on the bottom. And this is our common time signature when the 4 is on the bottom. Okay? Questions about that? If so, since you haven't logged on in the Zoom, send me an email. Send me a Google chat. Send me a Google Meet. We'll talk about it and see. Because these are the important things that we have to remember to do when we deal with sight reading a piece of music, when we deal with rehearsing a piece of music. It just makes us a better musician when we do that. Now, any questions about that? I was really hoping that more of you would come on today, but I guess the rainy weather has kept you asleep today. All right? Please study this. I will have these on your Google Classroom. This Zoom will be on your Google Classroom for you to review. To be a better musician, you have to study. And reason being the fact that everything that we do in music is repetition. So once you get these basics, it becomes much easier. I don't care if you're singing your voice as an instrument or if you're playing an instrument. You become a better musician even when you listen to music. Okay? Have a safe day. Be safe. Stay warm. And take this opportunity to take care of your classes and get caught up. Next week, progress reports go out. Have a good day. See you later.